And we continue at 2:06 in the afternoon on the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wings in Culver City.
As I continued this weekend to listen endlessly to Gavin Newsom's endless podcast appearance on the Sean Ryan Show, I found this interesting. This newly reformed Gavin thinks free public transit is a terrible idea.
You give away, I know there's a mayoral candidate wants to do free public transit. You'll treat it like it's free, man. I had an opportunity to do that as mayor. We did an analysis that we could justify doing free public transit. I said, no, gotta have some skin in the game, man.
It's so funny because when he goes on these podcasts, he tries to sound like a rational human being. Yet when it comes to him calling out other Democrats in California who do these things and then wreck the system and piss everyone off, he won't do it.
Well, and not only other Democrats, but himself. It was Gavin Newsom, through state emergency orders, that made all public transit free in California during COVID. And, John, what happened to the trains and buses in Muni and BART and L.A. Metro during COVID?
That's what they turned into, homeless encampments. I wish one of these podcasters would ask him about Barbara Ferrer.
Well, this is the thing. He specifically goes to the other end of the country to do a podcast for 4 hours with a guy that knows a lot about a lot of certain things, but doesn't know anything about straight up California policy. Gavin doesn't do any of these shows with anyone that actually knows what's going on here.
I have a prediction. If someone asks him about Barbara Ferrer now that he's basically done with the state and he's a national figure, he will throw her under the bus, put her at 6 feet under, and kick dirt on the grave.
Do you think he would go so far as to call her the fake doctor?
I think he would rip out her entrails and put them in the town square for all to see.
No, thank you.
There's no downside to doing that.
Yeah.
What, you think the Board of Supervisors is going to criticize him? No way. They're still afraid of him for whatever reason. The fake doctor will take it out on her employees.
Well, we know she does that.
I have no idea.
But she's not going to fight back. No, I think he's going to take some shots at that piñata. And every time he hits it, candy's going to come out.
Well, Gavin, you're doing a lot of different forms of media that you've never done before. Open invitation. You can come right here, and we'll let you bash the fake doctor for about 20 minutes before a commercial break.
Oh, if he starts bashing the fake doctor, we'll go wall to wall for 3 hours. And Randy, right now it's time to reopen the California Crime Blotter.
If the cashier is dummy.
Questions?
And this edition takes us to Hollywood.
There was a nightclub where someone was enjoying himself a little too much. He gets kicked out of the nightclub, and instead of realizing, okay, maybe I got to go sleep this off, maybe I should go somewhere else, maybe I should have a friend take me home, he gets behind the wheel and decides to plow his car into the crowd of people outside the nightclub, running over 30 people. Nobody died.
30 people?
Yes.
Usually doesn't that involve either doing mornings in L.A.? Oh, no, that's parked cars. Or being an elderly person who mistakes the gas for the brake.
Let's find out what happened here in East Hollywood on Friday night. Here is ABC 7 Eyewitness News in Los Angeles.
We begin with that breaking news, the chaotic and violent scene that unfolded in East Hollywood overnight when a driver plowed his car into a crowd of people on the sidewalk. This just minutes after he was kicked out of a nightclub. That driver has now been identified as 29-year-old Fernando Ramirez. At least 30 people were injured, one of them critically. And then the crowd turned on Ramirez, punching and kicking him before someone pulled out a gun and shot him.
A little street justice, huh?
This is true. He runs over this entire crowd. People get outraged, obviously, and someone pulled out a gun and shot him in the ass.
Okay. He did it on purpose out of malice. If there's any time where a driver has it coming, it's in this particular case.
Everyone is expected to survive.
All of this unfolding around 2 a.m. at Santa Monica and Vermont Avenue. We have live team coverage as we bring you the latest.
That's not a part of town you want to be at 2 a.m.
No, it's not.
Team coverage as we bring you the latest tonight, beginning with Eyewitness News reporter Tim Caputo, live tonight outside the club. Tim.
You know why they always say people tend to age out of crime? It's because people get tired earlier when they get older and they don't stay up that late with all the jackasses.
I have to fight myself to stay up to 8 o'clock every night now. And it's a fight.
Well, when does happy hour start?
Well, what time do we get off?
Jory, Sophie, you may be able to see over my shoulder here some of these security cameras outside this nightclub. There's apparently cameras outside as well as inside. Investigators have already reviewed the footage, and they say it paints a very clear picture. They say this was an intentional act by a man who was kicked out of this nightclub, got into his car, and drove onto the sidewalk, only crashing essentially right where I'm standing.
They didn't really need to do much investigating here. They knew exactly what happened.
And I'm sure the entire fight is on videotape, too.
And that man has already been arrested for assault with a deadly weapon.
Smacked everybody he just smacked everybody, bro.
Pure chaos on a sidewalk in East Hollywood as a man who was kicked out of a nightclub returned in a car and drove it into the crowd leaving the club.
Now, what do you think was the behavior inside the nightclub that led to him getting kicked out by the muscle?
Well, I don't know, but I bet you he uttered the phrase, "I've been kicked out of fancier places than this."
Returned in a car and drove it into the crowd leaving the club.
The whole time he's hitting the sidewalk, curb, and everything.
And then when you got out here, what'd you see?
At least 30 bodies on the floor.
Dozens left bloodied on North Vermont Avenue, just south of Santa Monica Boulevard, some with broken bones. One victim was taken to the hospital in critical condition.
Your phone's flying out your hand. You see shoes flying. You see, like, change, money.
Holy cow.
I'm telling you, it's a Looney Tunes cartoon.
There's hot dog stands that were outside the the club. They got hit. It was like a movie.
And all 29.
Even the street dogs weren't safe from this jackass. Which, by the way, that could lead to an explosive situation. You crash into one of those, you crash into a propane tank that's not regulated.
Well, and if you've ever seen one of these happen before, it looks like the people look like bowling pins going down, and it sounds like this guy ended up with a 7-10 split.
And all 29 people on the sidewalk outside the club Vermont Hollywood were hurt. But those who weren't injured immediately took aim at the man behind the wheel.
Ding, ding, ding. Away we go.
The driver, now identified by LAPD as 29-year-old Fernando Ramirez, was yanked from the driver's seat by the rest of the crowd.
My.
That was a long string of expletives.
He got punched, kicked, and even shot by one of those witnesses.
And he had all of it coming.
Instant justice.
Security.
By the way, that tells you there's not one person in this crowd that thought this was an accident.
No, and it also tells you that not one person in this crowd had any interest in him getting quote-unquote accountability.
Security from the club attempted to detain him and handcuffed him, at which time an additional suspect, not related to our driver, came from across the street, armed with a firearm, and then shot our suspect in the buttocks.
Sounds like a real pain in the ass.
I mean, he shot him somewhere where you're most likely not going to severely injure or kill him, but he still shot him.
Okay. Now, if you go to jail, will they give you one of those inflatable donuts to sit on for the people that have hemorrhoids?
Those watching from the apartment complex across the street were stunned as injured clubgoers were strewn across the sidewalk and street.
Oh, my God.
With so many people hurt, the fire department sent what seemed like everyone available.
A total of 124 firefighters for a medical call is a significant number of firefighters. But because of the number of patients, we wanted to make sure that we had enough paramedic resources on scene.
I mean, think about it. You have to get at least 30 to 40 ambulances out there.
Yeah, I mean, you basically need to set up a temporary hospital there for all the people that just got knocked over.
and fire companies to treat and transport those. So we set up, just like on a national system, a triage.
Ramirez also taken to the hospital, but is expected to survive the bullet in his behind.
I guess if you have to get shot somewhere, that's where you want it.
He's going to be walking around jail like Forrest Gump. I was shot in the buttocks.
Mayor Karen Bass responding in a statement, writing, quote, "This is a heartbreaking tragedy."
It's not a tragedy.
No, he did it on purpose.
How hard is it to call an a-hole an a-hole? Tragedy's a tornado.
For her, it's very difficult.
Mayor Karen Bass responding in a statement, writing, quote, "This is a heartbreaking tragedy. The hearts of Angelenos are with all of the victims impacted this morning. A full investigation into what happened is underway." And to police...
Boy, there is a easier layup than you could have ever seen that she blew.
Well, and she said for all of the people impacted? Well, doesn't that include the guy that got shot, the driver?
Yes, he's a victim.
And to police, it is already clear this was no accident.
It's clear that when he drove that vehicle down a sidewalk and around a bus, it was an intentional act.
Well, it is a Saturday night, and there was an event planned for this nightclub this evening. It has since been canceled. You may see some of the post notes on the front of the business here, just taped up here in the last hour, that essentially says that they're deeply saddened by the incident that happened last night, and their thoughts and prayers are with the victims, but they thought out of respect for those impacted in this crime, it would be inappropriate to hold tonight's event. It has been postponed for a later date later this summer. We're live tonight in East Hollywood. Tim Caputo, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
So that's what happened on Friday night in East Hollywood. Jackass, probably too drunk, gets kicked out of a club, decides to get revenge by crashing into the people standing outside the club, runs over 30 people. Somebody sees that, doesn't like it, and shoots that guy in the behind.
Well, he's lucky he didn't get shot twice, one for each cheek.
Yeah, I don't think that's something you call a tragedy.
No, it's not. It's an intentional act.
But, Johnny, it's been a couple of days now, and what do you know? Turns out the suspect in all this may have a criminal record.
Oh, you don't say. He's a justice-involved individual, huh?
For more, here's NBC4 in Los Angeles.
Now at 6, breaking news. NBC4 Investigates is uncovering new details about the driver accused of plowing into a crowd of people outside an East Hollywood nightclub. Good evening. I'm Kathy Vara.
I'm Jonathan Gonzalez. That crash happened early yesterday morning as people were leaving the Vermont Hollywood. Tonight, law enforcement raising the number of injured to 37.
Investigators say the driver was at the club before he drove into the crowd. Immediately following the crash, people swarmed the car and pulled him out. He was later arrested. And tonight
shot in the butt.
I like how they edited that part out.
And tonight we are learning he has an extensive criminal background. NBC4's Tracy Leong joining us live with breaking new details. Tracy.
Yeah, Jonathan and Kathy, the driver, 29-year-old Fernando Ramirez, has a lengthy criminal record, at least 11 criminal cases from misdemeanor to felony, dating back to 2014 when he was 18 years old.
Oh, boy, this sounds like a Prop 47er if I've ever heard one.
Oh, sounds like a real winner to me.
We do want to warn you, the video that we're going to show you, the aftermath of the club attack, is graphic. NBC4 Investigates, confirming that the man who slammed his car into the crowd of people outside an East Hollywood club has previously been convicted of felony battery. The LAPD says an angry mob of people attacked Ramirez, and one man shot him in the rear end.
There it is.
I knew we'd get to that detail at some point.
After he intentionally slammed his Nissan Versa into people outside the...
It was a Versa.
Not an Altima.
I just want to be clear about that. It was not an Altima.
That was an Altima ALTMA 4899410. Please move it now. You're blocking someone.
I like the fact that they gave the disclaimer about how graphic the video was. And I don't know if you saw the video, Randy, but fake eyelashes were flying everywhere.
After he intentionally slammed his Nissan Versa into people outside the Vermont Hollywood on Saturday morning, hurting at least 37. A number police say they expect to rise with more victims now coming forward. Police say...
Wait, did people get run over and they just ran away?
Yeah, how do you find more victims? Don't you just count them on the sidewalk?
Police say Ramirez had returned to his car after getting kicked out of the club around 2 a.m., driving up onto the sidewalk on Vermont Avenue, hitting dozens of people, a food cart, and a light pole. 24 of the 37 injured were taken to the hospital, and officials say only one remains in critical but stable condition with a broken leg. LAPD Captain Ben Fernandez confirming Ramirez was sentenced in January 2020 for attacking a man outside of a Laguna Beach Whole Foods in June of 2019.
But he was free to be on the streets to do this, huh?
Oh, yes. Well, the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation taught him yoga to control his negative impulses.
This felony battery with a hate crime enhancement charge, just one of nearly a dozen cases NBC4 Investigates looked into. He was on parole at the time of Saturday's crash, but it's unclear whether it was in connection to the 2019 incident or another case. Ramirez is expected to survive his injuries.
Boy, CDCR really knows how to pick those parolees.
Do you think they were trying to shoot him in the rear end, or do you think they were aiming for his spine to paralyze him and missed?
Ramirez is expected to survive his injuries and was booked for assault with a deadly weapon.
Our main goal is to try and determine intent, to determine what would possess this individual to take a car and drive it down that sidewalk.
Oh, come on. We don't need a psychologist to step in to find out what happened here.
When somebody does something truly heinous, does it really matter why? There's no good reason.
He's got a rap sheet longer than a CVS receipt.
Strike all these bystanders. And then also, the sobriety of the individual.
Well, I think you just solved your own question.
Yeah.
Police are asking for the public's help in tracking down the man who shot Ramirez outside this club on Saturday morning. We will continue to look into his criminal history and have an update at 11. Reporting live in East Hollywood, Tracy Leong, NBC4 News.
So there you go. There's all the latest that we have on this awful incident in East Hollywood. The jackass that got wasted inside the club, gets kicked out of the club, gets revenge by crashing into all the people that were outside of the club, and then they pull him out of the car, someone shoots him in the butt, and apparently that guy's on the loose.
And we're supposed to pretend like we don't know what happened. Not only do I want him to go to prison for the rest of his life, but I also want to throw whoever it was that blew into the breathalyzer so he could start the ignition. I want to throw them in prison, too. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, with the end of the show quickly approaching, if you want to continue listening to us after we sign off at 3, that's easy to do.
All you got to do is search for The John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's the Apple Podcasts app, iHeart, Spotify. Search for The John Phillips Show. Hit subscribe. You can download all the episodes. You can do what George Gascon does to himself in the middle of the night.
Google on YouTube.
You can get one of our apps, the free KABC app, the free KSFO app. Easy way to listen live to these radio stations and download all the podcasts. Great thing about a podcast, you can listen while you're doing anything, whether you're working, whether you're exercising, or whether you're witnessing someone trying to steal a jacket in Santa Monica.
Give me back my jacket!
Last week, we told you that the city and county of San Francisco has told their police officers to back off on pulling people over for driving with expired tags. However, there is another big city in Northern California that's going in the exact opposite direction.
In San Jose, in the South Bay, they're cracking down on expired tags. For more on this, we go back to ABC 7 in the Bay Area and Leanne Melendez.
Earlier this week, we told you how San Francisco is ticketing fewer vehicles with expired registrations.
But in the South Bay, it's the opposite. The city of San Jose announced ticketing is increasing there. This after DMV data found thousands of vehicles with registrations that have been expired for more than 6 months.
ABC 7.
Yeah, at that point, people just don't care.
Yeah, if you let it go 6 months, you don't give a damn.
ABC 7 News Building a Better Bay Area reporter Leanne Melendez is here with this interesting story, Leanne.
And not to mention it's revenue for San Jose,
sure.
right?
Right.
According to the DMV, the average cost of a vehicle registration is $295.
I wish.
Yeah, I remember those days.
think mine is $600 a year now.
Of course, it could.
My car's not that fancy.
In addition to that being expensive, my auto insurance went up 97% this year.
Of course, it could be higher or lower than that.
You know what it is? You've got to stop saying on the air that you forgot your glasses.
Maybe that's it.
Of course, it could be higher or lower than that. But as you will see here, some people would rather risk getting a ticket than pay for that registration.
This is Albert Pham, a San Jose parking and traffic control officer. We got in the car with him to see how San Jose is now dealing with those vehicles that are not registered on city streets.
How do you know when a car the registration might be expired?
Usually the car is really dirty, like has
All right, advice to all the scofflaws out there. If you're not getting your registration done, the least you could do is wash your car. Otherwise, it's obvious.
Well, what's the old saying? If you want to know how clean the kitchen is at a restaurant, just check out the bathroom. If the bathroom is filthy, so is the kitchen.
Usually the car is really dirty, like has cobwebs, dirt underneath it.
Here's where some forensic knowledge is helpful. By now, he knows that the yellow and red stickers representing 2025 and 2026 are current.
This one will be yellow, red, no sticker, yellow, yellow. Like this car would be dirty, but it's up to date.
So they might be a slob, but they're a slob that pays their bills.
2025.
He eventually finds a car with a missing license plate and pulls over to run the VIN number. Using his handheld device, he inputs the information.
Yeah, and now we'll run this on the laptop.
All the information he needs is available.
It's almost like there are certain sectors in San Jose where they're embracing technology, where the problem with the parking enforcement people in San Francisco is they have to call a phone number to talk to the supervisor.
Well, for whatever reason, and I don't know why the government is like this, but agencies don't like to share information with other agencies. So if you put the meter maids in the transportation department and not in the police department, they don't have access to the police information like expired tags. But if you put the meter maids at the police department and not in the transportation department, then they have access to all of those things, and it makes their job much easier, and it makes it more accurate.
All the information he needs is available in real time on that laptop. It took just over a minute.
Expired 2022.
This one, with a coat of dust, not only had an expired registration, but had been cited before for other infractions.
So what happens in that case?
If it gets 2 or more tickets on the dashboard, then it'll be reported to the VA team, and then a case will be created, and then we'll come and investigate the vehicle. If it's still expired, we'll just tow it on the spot.
Why the increased...
Still fairly lenient, but at least it's something.
Well, in San Jose, at least they seem to have a plan, so they just don't sit there forever.
In Oakland, it's so bad that they end up giving tickets to the stolen cars that get ditched on the side of the road.
Why the increased enforcement? San Jose obtained 2022-23 DMV data that found that more than 4,200 car owners who had previously registered their vehicle now had their registration expired by more than 6 months. 4,200 doesn't seem all that much when you consider that there are a lot of cars here, but it's money they're not getting.
When you pay your registration,
it is an interesting thing. You would figure the one thing California government would be really good at is making sure you pay them money they say that you owe them.
Well, I bet you when things like auto insurance rates go up, if people are going to be insured, they have to find a bill that they don't pay. And if they believe that the state is not enforcing it, then that's the one that's not being paid.
When you pay your registration, nobody's profiteering off that. That money is going to useful projects, to maintain our roadways, to pay for transit improvements, to fund the parking officers who are going to make sure that parking spots are staying open and available.
For now, you're...
I mean, sure, that's where the money goes. Sure.
Oh, yeah. not to politically connected groups who use the money against your wishes.
For now, you're warning people.
Right. For the whole month of July, we're warning people. And then starting August 1st is when we're starting giving real tickets and start towing vehicles.
In August, that ticket will cost you $63.
Well, probably before fees.
Yeah. Just wait until they tack on the fees, and then we'll see where it ends up.
Our practice is going to be if your registration is expired between 6 months and a year, and there's nothing else going on with your vehicle, we are leaning towards ticketing.
You know, it's not like you even have to deal with the DMV anymore for this or even the mail. They have those DMV ATM machines all over grocery stores throughout the state of California. You go in, you swipe your credit card, and it prints out the sticker right there. It's never been easier.
This is so similar to what's going on right now with immigration, where it's a law that's on the books that's just not enforced. And then when you start enforcing it, they expect a public backlash, and they have to find ways to try to massage it. I don't understand why the government wants a gazillion different laws on the books, and then they pick and choose which ones they enforce. Shouldn't it be where we have as few laws on the books as possible, but if they're there, they enforce it, and they enforce it consistently?
And then if it's more than a year expired, then we can tell you immediately.
It's not like San Jose hasn't been ticketing vehicles. The latest numbers show that in 2023-24, officers issued 2,600 citations for expired registrations alone. 1,300 cars were towed.
But with this added capacity, we're expecting to significantly boost that number of citations, and we should have capacity to tow upwards of 3,000 vehicles.
Lived-in vehicles parked on the streets will be given a warning to move within 72 hours. The San Jose Housing Department is responsible for outreach and offering resources.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You cannot let these RVs be staying on there either, because they all have expired registration.
I wonder if they're going to go to court and they're going to find some left-wing judge that's going to stop the city from doing this.
This overall effort to ticket more people comes with a few challenges. There are only 50 of these officers in San Jose.
I think San Francisco had 4. Hold on a second. Excuse me. I'm mistaken. That was Oakland that has 4.
About 6 focusing solely on expired registrations.
It's like they abandoned them.
They have to cover an area nearly 4 times the size of San Francisco, which, by the way, has 370 parking control officers in the city.
Take a picture of it, get the plate, so I have to go back to the laptop real quick to run the plate real quick.
And then there's always the surprises. This car had an expired sticker, but the DMV information showed otherwise.
Okay, this is either one of two things. Either the sticker got stolen, which does happen, or somebody paid for their registration, decided they didn't feel like putting the sticker on that day, and totally forgot about it.
Well, I think I told you a similar thing happened to me where I was driving around and someone said, "Oh, you have expired tags." And I said, "No, I don't." They said, "Oh, yeah." And I looked at it. I go, "I'll be damned. I do have expired tags." So I log into the California DMV website to see if I paid the bill, because I'm pretty good about paying those bills when they come. And lo and behold, yes, I did pay the bill, but I not only didn't have current tags, I didn't have the current registration in the glove compartment. So either that never came in the mail after I paid the bill, or it got lost somewhere. But then you just go on the website, and if you can prove that you paid the bill, which they have in their record, so that wasn't a problem, you pay a small fee, and they will send you a new sticker and a new registration to keep in your glove compartment. And I got that in the mail today.
Car is up to date.
Why do you think people don't put the stickers on?
I don't know. Maybe they're saving it for something, putting it in a different vehicle. It could be many reasons, right?
Putting it in a different car.
Maybe they pay for one on the least, the cheaper one, and then they put it on the expensive one that they don't pay.
In this case, we'll never really know.
So just to be clear, for now they are just Issuing warnings, actual monetary ticketing will begin on August 17th.
Oh,
August
wow.
17th. But
Plan for keeps then.
Yeah.
Boy, it is annoying to change those little stickers. It's such a hassle.
Yeah. And sometimes, you talk to people and they're like, oh, I just got a ticket, but I have it on my desk. And I forgot to put it on there.
Hey, that's legit. I've used that before.
I actually have one literally on my desk at home that I've got to put on this weekend.
All right,
I do.
come on.
It's true.
Oh, boy, Dan, you better get to it.
I never peel the old one off. I just put the new one on top of the old one.
Oh, me too. And you can look. There's like 4 or 5 on there now. I got orange, I got blue, I got yellow and red.
If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
Deborah writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com and says, I have 19 tag stickers on my 2006 Honda. That's impressive.
That might be a world record. All right. We know that the bullet train in California won't be completed anytime soon, as in any of our lifetimes. However, if you're looking for a place that's worse than the state of California in terms of trying to get a project done on time, you don't have to look any farther than the no-growth community of Santa Barbara, California.
If you, in the past 15 years, have ever taken a trip up the 101 freeway past Ventura, maybe you're going to Santa Barbara, maybe you're going to Buellton and Solvang and Santa Barbara wine country, maybe you're going the beautiful way through some of the beautiful spots in the Central Coast, you may have noticed that it feels like the 101 in between Ventura and Santa Barbara has been under construction forever.
Because that's how they roll.
Well, Caltrans announced that the 101 project that was started in 2012 will finally end next year, probably.
Unless there's more delays.
For more, here's a report from KSBY in Santa Barbara.
Construction and delays have long been the norm when you're traveling through Santa Barbara using Highway 101. I'm stuck in a traffic jam right now.
Get used to it.
But there might be an end in sight. I'm community reporter Juliette.
And unlike a lot of other places in the state, there really is no other way to go. You sit on that 101 and you suffer.
Enjoy it.
But there might be an end in sight. I'm community reporter Juliette Lamar in Santa Barbara, looking into how millions of dollars in new funding is finally helping to complete this multimodal project.
Multimodal, what, can you walk on the freeway?
I can only imagine what that actually means.
Since 2012, blocked roadways and construction trucks have been a staple along Highway 101 in Santa Barbara.
13 years of lane closures for a freeway expansion project.
This is not building something new. This is not building new technology that we've never seen before. This is expanding an existing freeway.
And, of course, it's not just the 101. How long has that project been widening the 5 at the 605? That feels like that one's been around for 20 years.
How long has LAX been under construction?
Forever.
Now, all that work is nearing the finish line.
The 101 is almost done.
They're still using qualifiers.
Marjorie Kern with Santa Barbara County Association of Governments tells me the decades-long 101 improvement project has secured $134 million in state funding to complete the multimodal corridor.
It will construct carpool lanes.
We're still doing that?
I guess so. Isn't Florida getting rid of all of theirs?
Yes. They signed a law in Florida that anyone can drive in the carpool lane. We're still building carpool lanes. Remember, back in 2010, the big thing in Carmageddon, when they shut down the 405 freeway for an entire weekend, which was impressive because they got an entire project done in one weekend, was so they could put carpool lanes on the 405.
Great.
And guess what? Traffic wasn't any better.
It will construct carpool lanes and improve off-ramps and on-ramps and have alternate.
Santa Barbara's really weird. Some of the off-ramps have you go left.
Yeah, I hate it when they do that because then you get tricked and you have to cut across multiple lanes of traffic.
Have alternative modes of transportation.
And it's not just a highway project. Local street improvements include adding more pedestrian and cyclist paths, replacing the Union Pacific Railroad Bridge on East Cabrillo, and adding more electric vehicle charging stations.
That'll do it. By the way, as somebody that has tried to take his electric car up to Santa Barbara wine country, don't.
Yeah, you see, that's the reason why I don't have an electric car. As soon as they can go 600 miles, I'm all in. Until they can go 600 miles, I'm going to stick with gasoline.
So there you go. The 101 expansion project that's been under construction for 13 years might be done next year.
Maybe.